Hi there, I'm Sarah Thompson, a 28-year-old doctoral candidate in biochemistry at Westfield University. Right now, I'm burning the midnight oil in my tiny apartment, surrounded by stacks of research papers and empty coffee cups. My laptop screen glows with the latest version of my thesis, the culmination of years of blood, sweat, and tears. Growing up in a blue-collar family, I never imagined I'd be here, on the verge of earning my PhD. But here I am. My phone buzzes, breaking my focus. It's my sister, Emma. "Hey sis, how's the genius doing?" she asks. I roll my eyes. "Hey Em, just drowning in work as usual." "What's up?" "Oh, just checking in. Tom and I were wondering if you're coming to dinner this Sunday." Sunday dinners with Emma and her husband Tom. They got married 2 years ago, and let's just say family gatherings have been interesting since then. "I don't know, Em. My defense is coming up, and I've got to." "Come on, Sarah. You can't work all the time. Besides, Tom's been asking about your research. He finds it fascinating." I bite my lip, torn between family obligations and my work. All right, I'll be there." After hanging up, I turn back to my laptop, trying to regain my concentration. But my mind keeps wandering to the upcoming defense. Years of hard work, sleepless nights, and sacrifices, all coming down to one presentation. The pressure is overwhelming. A knock at my door startles me. It's Dr. Rachel Chen, my advisor and mentor. "Sarah, you look like you haven't slept in days. Everything okay?" I sigh, running a hand through my messy hair. "Just nervous about the defense, Dr. Chen. What if I mess up? What if the committee tears my research apart?" Dr. Chen gives me a reassuring smile. "Sarah, you're one of the brightest students I've ever had. Your work is groundbreaking. You've got this." Her words boost my confidence, but a nagging doubt remains. As if reading my mind, Dr. Chen adds, "Don't let Marcus get in your head. He's just jealous of your success." Ah, Marcus Sloan, my academic rival. The guy has been trying to one-up me since day one, but I won't let him throw me off my game. "Thanks, Dr. Chen. I appreciate your support." As she leaves, I turn back to my work with renewed determination. The path to this PhD hasn't been easy, juggling studies, a part-time job to make ends meet, and family expectations. But I'm so close now, I can almost taste it. I glance at the photo on my desk, me and Emma as kids, big smiles on our faces. Things were simpler then. Now there's always this undercurrent of tension between us. I shake off the thought and refocus on my thesis. No time for family drama now. I got a PhD to earn. The big day finally arrives. I stand in front of the mirror, adjusting my blazer and taking deep breaths. This is it, my PhD defense, years of work culminating in this moment. As I set up my laptop in the presentation room, Dr. Chen gives me an encouraging nod. The committee members file in, their faces unreadable. I take a deep breath and begin. "Good morning. Today, I'll be presenting my thesis on." Suddenly, my slides freeze. Frowning, I click frantically, but nothing happens. Sweat beads on my forehead as I fumble with the computer. "I'm so sorry, just give me a moment." After what feels like an eternity, I manage to restart the presentation. But as I continue, my anxiety grows. Something feels off, slides are missing, data points don't match my notes. What is going on? By the time I finish, I'm a nervous wreck. The committee looks confused and unimpressed as they file out. Dr. Chen approaches me, concern etched on her face. "Sarah, what happened?" I shake my head, fighting back tears. "I don't know. Everything was fine last night." Back in my apartment, I frantically search my laptop. A cold dread washes over me as I realize my thesis files are gone, completely wiped. Even my backups are corrupted. As panic sets in, a memory surfaces, last Sunday's dinner at Emma and Tom's place. "A PhD, huh?" Emma had said, her voice oddly bitter. "Must be nice to be the golden child." I brushed it off then, but now, and Tom, he'd been so interested in my work lately, always asking to see my laptop. "Just curious," he'd said, with that charming smile of his. No, it couldn't be. They wouldn't, would they? My phone buzzes. It's Dr. Chen. "Sarah, the committee's concerned. I convinced them to grant you an extension." "But what's going on?" Dr. Chen asked. I spilled everything, the missing files, my suspicions. Dr. Chen listened patiently, then said, "That's a serious accusation, Sarah." We need solid evidence before taking any action. For now, focus on rebuilding your work. I'll help you explain the situation to the department. After hanging up, my mind reeled. How could this happen? My own family? A text from Emma popped up. Hey sis, heard about your defense. Tough break. Need any help? I stared at the message, anger and disbelief churning inside me. If they really did this. No, I couldn't confront them, not yet. I needed proof. I looked at my empty laptop screen, the weight of the task ahead crushing me. My reputation was in tatters, years of work gone. But I wasn't going to let them win. I opened a new document and started typing. I'd rebuild my thesis from scratch if I had to, and I'd find out the truth, no matter what it took. As I worked through the night, one thought kept me going. Whoever did this was going to pay, big time. I knew I couldn't handle this alone, so I called my friend Alex, a computer whiz I met during undergrad. Sarah, this is serious stuff. We're talking cybercrime here, Alex said, examining my laptop. Can you recover anything? I asked, hopefully. Alex shook his head. Whoever did this knew what they were doing, but I can set up some safeguards to prevent future attacks. While Alex worked his magic, I hatched a plan. I bought some tiny cameras and strategically placed them around my apartment, especially near my workstation. Okay, I told Alex. Now we wait. I made a show of frantically working on my thesis, making sure to mention my progress whenever Emma or Tom were around. One evening, Emma stopped by unexpectedly. How's the rewrite going? She asked, an odd glint in her eye. It's coming along, I said cautiously. Emma fidgeted with her wedding ring. You know, Sarah, sometimes I wonder. What if I'd gone to college instead of marrying Tom? I blinked, surprised by her candor. And it's not too late if that's what you want. Easy for you to say, she snapped. You've always been the smart one, the successful one. Do you know how that feels? Her words stung, but I pressed on. Emma, did you have anything to do with what happened to my thesis? Her face crumpled. I didn't mean for it to go so far. Tom said we'd just scare you a little, make you miss the deadline. He can be very persuasive. I felt sick, my own sister. But Emma's confession was just the beginning. A few days later, my cameras caught Tom sneaking into my apartment while I was at the lab. The footage clearly showed him tampering with my laptop. Burning with anger, I dug deeper. What I found shocked me. Tom had a history of academic fraud, having been kicked out of 2 universities for plagiarism and theft of research. How had Emma not known? But the final piece of the puzzle came from an unexpected source. Marcus Sloan, my academic rival. He'd approached me one day after class, looking nervous. Sarah, I need to confess something. Tom approached me a few weeks ago. He said if I helped him sabotage your work, he'd make sure I got the grant you were in line for. He trailed off, looking ashamed. I stared at him, speechless. I'm sorry, Marcus continued. I realized how wrong it was. That's why I'm coming clean now. I thanked Marcus for his honesty, my mind racing. I had all the pieces now. Emma's jealousy, Tom's manipulation, Marcus's involvement. Over the next few days, I meticulously compiled all the evidence. The camera footage, Emma's confession, Marcus's statement, Tom's history of fraud. I backed everything up in triplicate, determined not to be caught off guard again. As I put the finishing touches on my case, a mix of emotions washed over me, anger at the betrayal, sadness for my broken relationship with Emma, determination to see justice done. I took a deep breath and picked up my phone. Dr. Chen, I have something you need to see. The time for secrets was over. It was time to bring everything into the light. The day of reckoning had arrived. I stood before the University Ethics Committee, my heart pounding but my resolve firm. Dr. Chen gave me an encouraging nod as I began my presentation. Distinguished committee members, what I'm about to show you goes beyond academic misconduct. It's a deliberate act of sabotage and fraud. I laid out the evidence methodically, the camera footage, Emma's confession, Marcus's statement, and Tom's history of academic dishonesty. The committee members' expressions grew increasingly grave as I continued. This wasn't just an attack on my work, but on the integrity of our institution, I concluded. The room erupted in murmurs. The committee chair cleared his throat. Miss Thompson, these are serious allegations. We'll need to involve the authorities. Within hours, campus police arrived. I watched a mix of satisfaction and sadness washing over me as they led Tom away in handcuffs. The charges: theft of intellectual property and computer fraud. Emma showed up at my apartment that evening, her eyes red and puffy. Sarah, I don't know what to say. I never thought Tom would go this far. I couldn't bring myself to comfort her. You knew enough, Emma. You were willing to destroy my career because of your own insecurities. She broke down sobbing. But I held firm. Years of resentment and betrayal had created a chasm between us that I wasn't sure could ever be bridged. The next day, I received word that Marcus had been expelled from the PhD program for his role in the sabotage. His confession had saved him from legal consequences, but his academic career was over. The fallout continued as the university announced sweeping changes to protect students' work, enhanced cybersecurity measures, stricter penalties for academic dishonesty, and mandatory ethics training for all researchers. Amidst the chaos, I threw myself into rebuilding my thesis. Nights blurred into days as I worked tirelessly, fueled by determination and countless cups of coffee. Finally, the day of my rescheduled defense arrived. This time, as I stood before the committee, there were no technical glitches, no missing slides. I presented my work with confidence, feeling even the toughest questions with ease. When I finished, the room erupted in applause. Dr. Chen beamed with pride. Congratulations, Dr. Thompson. Your thesis has been accepted with distinction. The weight of the past few months lifted from my shoulders. I had done it. Despite everything, I had persevered. As the committee filed out, Dr. Chen pulled me aside. Sarah, your resilience through this ordeal has been remarkable. I'd like to offer you a postdoctoral position in my lab. Your insights would be invaluable to our research. Overwhelmed with gratitude, I accepted on the spot. The day of the graduation ceremony arrived. As I donned my cap and gown, I couldn't help but reflect on the tumultuous journey that had brought me here. I spotted Emma in the audience, her expression a mixture of pride and regret. She approached me after the ceremony, tears in her eyes. Sarah, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so sorry for everything. Can we please try to mend things? I looked at my sister, feeling a pang of sadness for the relationship we once had. But too much had happened. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired. I'm sorry, Emma. I need time, a lot of time. I can't just forget what happened. She nodded, understanding but clearly heartbroken. As she walked away, I felt a chapter of my life closing. Dr. Chen approached, breaking me from my thoughts. Ready to celebrate, Dr. Thompson. I smiled, pushing aside the lingering sadness. Absolutely. As we headed to the reception, I felt a sense of triumph. I had faced betrayal, sabotage, and seemingly insurmountable odds, but I had emerged stronger, wiser, and with my goals achieved. This wasn't just a graduation. It was a victory over those who tried to hold me back, over the obstacles thrown in my path, and over my own self-doubts. As I raised a glass with my colleagues, celebrating our achievements, I knew this was just the beginning. Whatever challenges the future held, I was ready to face them head-on. After all, I was Dr. Sarah Thompson now, and nothing could take that away from me.